Hey guys, well, I told you if I decided to make a mulberry pie with those mulberries that we picked that I would bring you along. This pie is so super simple. The recipe that I had was for a 9-inch pie, and I thought, yeah, just, adjust the ingredients and go with to make a 10-inch pie, because for the 9-inch pie it was 3 cups of mulberries and I have 4 cups. So let's just use them all. All right, there's my mulberries. And yes, they have the little bitty stem on them, but I'm not cutting them off. A lot of the recipes that I've read said don't cut them off because they'll cook up and be real tender. And the last pie I made, you couldn't even tell they were stems. So you've seen me make a pie crust before, so I've already got one of my 10-inch pies plates filled with the bottom crust. This will be a 2-crust pie. I'm not a fancy baker, so there's not going to be all the fancy weave and the pretty pictures on the top, but let's get started. So simple. Okay, for my 4 cups of mulberries, I've got 1.5 cups of sugar. I know that looks like a lot of sugar, but it helps draw out the juices. And 1/3 cup of flour. That's it. Some recipes say spiced, you can add different spices to it, but we just like it plain. I had considered adding almond or vanilla flavoring or extract, but I decided just to go with the plain. So I'm going to get them all well coated with the flour and the sugar. And then I'm going to let them set for about 10-15 minutes, just to so the sugar will draw out the juices. And then of course, the flour will thicken it as it bakes. So I've got, like I said, I've got my bottom crust already in the pie plate. So I'll be back in about 10-15 minutes. Wowza. Well, it's been a little bit longer than 10-15 minutes, because when I saw all that sugar that went in there, I'm like, no way. We went back out to the mulberry tree, and I've got about another between 3 and 3.5 cups of mulberries that I just cleaned. And I have 3 cups in the freezer, but I didn't want to take the time to thaw those out. So I'm going to dump these in the bowl, and let's see if that makes a difference. Look at all that sugar. That is way too much. So there goes another 3 cups. And I'm going to get that all stirred up and let it set for another 10 or 15 minutes and start drawing out some of the juices. It's already looking a lot better. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little bit of salt. Just something that I know works. So it won't be much. I would say a pinch of salt, but this many mulberries, maybe 2 pinches. But I'm just going to add a little bit of salt to that. Oh, that already looks better. Okay, I'm going to get the salt added and get it all stirred in, and I'll let it set. All right, guys, it's been about 15 minutes. I don't know if you can see the juice in there, but oh wow, this is so much better. So much better. So I have my 10-inch pie crust sitting over here. Had to patch it, but oh well. Still tastes good, right? Now I'm going to put my mulberries in here. And I'll see. Oh, boy, was I wrong about that. Looks like it takes about 6 to 7 cups of mulberries for a 10-inch pie crust. I'm kind of glad I had that little goof up. Got to go get a spatula. Okay, I want to make sure and get all the goodies out of there. Now, as I said before, I did not destem these, but when you bake them, the stems become real tender and you don't even know that they're on there. You can't even see them. So I've got, my oven is preheating to 400 degrees and I've got the top crust chilling. So I'm gonna get it out, roll it out, and we'll get ready to put it on the top. Oops, sorry guys, I just realized I wasn't recording as I was rolling out my top crust. Now, I told you I'm a plain baker, nothing fancy. Those of you who've been with me know how plain I am. I see all these other videos put out these beautiful pie crusts and these beautiful kitchens and they're dressed to the hilt. Well, I guess that's just not me. So anyway, I've gone around, I cut my edge to, it overlaps, and I cut the edge to the bottom of the pie plate. Then, I'm gonna come back around and I tuck it under, tuck the top crust under the bottom crust. And I can tell right now I'm going to have to do a little patchwork. This was not one of my best pie crusts, but that's all right. It's just a basic lard crust. I bet it's still gonna taste good even though it doesn't look beautiful, right? So, I've got it all tucked in and sealed. I tuck it under so I can seal it, and then I just go around the edges and kind of flute the edge of the pie. This is how I've always done it. This is how my mom did it. I know some people use a fork, and we all have our methods. Okay, and then you need some vent holes on the top, and I just remembered one thing that I forgot. I was supposed to put butter over the top of the pie filling, but that's okay. I think with all that sugar, it's gonna be plenty rich. So now I'm going to take just a little bit of milk and brush it across the top. The recipe I found for this is where it recommended the butter on the top, and I really, the milk on the top, and I really liked the way that pie turned out. The only thing that I'll do different is I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of sugar on the top. It just makes for a prettier finish in my opinion. Usually I would use an egg wash if I put anything on, but I like the way the milk did it. So now I'm gonna sprinkle a little sugar on, not much. I'm gonna put it in a 400-degree oven, and I'm gonna let it bake for 15 minutes. Then I'm gonna turn it down to 350 and let it bake another, I think it's 35 or 45 more minutes. Okay, what are we gonna do with the leftover pie crust? Well, we're gonna make pie crust cookies, of course. So, this is my ghee that I make every week after I've skimmed off the cream off the raw milk that we buy. And I'm taking this brush. I've already done one small piece that I had left over. And I'm gonna brush this onto that's a dollop, but it ought to spread out. I'm gonna spread this onto the crust. And then I'm going to cover it with cinnamon and sugar. And this is going to kind of serve a dual purpose. These are going to bake while the pie is baking, but at the same time, I've got it on a large cookie sheet, and it's going to set underneath the pie in case the pie decides to spill over. This is my cinnamon sugar that I keep mixed up at all times. I just make a big, like a quart jar full of it and put it in this little shaker. Sometimes we have cinnamon toast, and mostly I just use it on this is what I use on my cinnamon rolls. And I'm just gonna cut this. I used to do it on little individual pieces, but I found that this is easier. And then I'm gonna lay them out on my cookie sheet. And they'll go into the oven. I'm gonna wait until the oven gets turned down to 350 though. That'll be a couple more minutes. Then we'll come back. Okay guys, it's the next day. This is my finished product. And of course I had some spill out, but that's okay. Now the old farmer's gonna give it a taste test. We'll see. Right, here's the taste test. My mulberry pie. Seriously, is it good?
Delicious, honey.
Oh, great. All right, guys. There you saw. Now, I'm going to give it a try. See y'all next time.